right, we are live. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our Women's History Month panel. We are so excited to have you all joining us today. I am Ashley Glass. I'm the founder of Black Women Cultivating Change, and I have some amazing women here tonight who will be on our panel tonight sharing their experience as well as a woman in history that has helped inspire them on their journey to success. So first, I would like to introduce our moderator for the evening. It is Dr. Ebony Griggs-Griffin. And I am going to give you 1 second. All right, I'm going to share her bio. Dr. Ebony is a dynamic leadership coach, consultant, and equity advocate with over a decade of experience advancing inclusion and community impact across education and nonprofit sectors. We are so lucky to have Dr. Ebony as a board member. And without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Ebony tonight. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley. And it is truly, truly an honor to step in and serve in this capacity. It is also an honor to welcome you all to today's conversation, Leading the Change, Women Shaping a Sustainable Future. As we gather on this final day of Women's History Month, we are not closing a chapter, we are reinforcing a movement. Women's History Month is a time to reflect on the courage, the brilliance, and the resilience of women who have paved the way. But just as importantly, it is time to recognize that history is still being written right now by women like those we are about to hear from today. The conversation hosted by Black Women Cultivating Change is especially meaningful because it centers voices that are too often underrepresented, yet consistently transformative. Black Women Cultivating Change's commitment to mental wellness, empowerment, and community reminds us that sustainable change is not just about systems. It's about people. It's about healing. It's about growth and the power of women leading with both head and heart. So let's begin. We are going to begin with the poem by Ayu Deforge, who is joining us from France. Oh, what an honor to have her. Ayu Deforge is a Nigerian writer based in South France, an alumna of Chiamanda Amanda, I think I messed that up, Ngozi Adichie, a creative writing workshop and the Faber Academy, and and an acclaimed author whose work spans poetry, fiction, and essays exploring grief, identity, and resilience. So without further ado, I introduce you to the amazing Ayu Deforge.
Hi everyone, good evening. It's an honor to be here tonight joining this discussion. My name is Ayu Deforge. I'm a Nigerian living here in the south of France, and I write about loss, grief, and healing. At the age of 13, after I lost my mother to cancer, I began, writing to navigate grief on my own and also to cope with it. And since then, I've been writing about the importance of, helping children, supporting children through grief. And my adult fiction is also about unresolved childhood grief. And I have a memoir about grief titled Grips of Grief. I am also currently working on children's books to, help them navigate grief and understand, to help children understand children dealing with other children dealing with grief, and also to have compassion. And I want to briefly talk about a Nigerian woman that I that I really admire now, leading a change in Nigeria with regards to helping women that deal with bleeding when they give birth. Through she has a bank called Life Bank, and they use tech and logistics to transport blood when there's emergency, and we have like 100 hospitals on this life bank. So she's for this this Women's History Month. This is someone that I really admire because she's doing something that is saving a lot of lives. In Nigeria right now, postpartum bleeding is one of the major cause of death. I'd like to read you a poem from my book, and the book is titled "The Mind is Not an Ally." The mind of a child is a lush garden, a beautiful sanctuary bursting with wonder, where bright ideas bloom like flowers and colorful dreams take flight on delicate wings. The mind of a youngster is a rich, fertile ground, a paradise of endless possibility, where time stretches infinitely and imagination paints the world in vibrant hues. The mind of an adult is a vast labyrinth. Untamed, it becomes a war zone where warriors march like tireless troops, and each day is a tug of war between hope and despair. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for the work that you're doing, Ayu. Thank you for sharing your poem. And you indicated the book is The Mind is an Ally. Is that correct? I just want to make sure.
The mind is not an ally.
The mind is not an ally. So if you are interested, please take a look at her book. Thank you, Ayu. Thank you so much
Thank you for having me.
for sharing. Absolutely. Okay. So you've heard from the amazing Ayo and her work and what she's doing, and the impact of her work that she's having is tremendous. So we are grateful to have had her join us. We are then now going to move into our panelists. Today's panelists are not just participants in change, they are architects of it. They are leaders, innovators, they are advocates and truth tellers. Their lived experience, their work, and their voices offer us insight into what it means to lead boldly, but not just to lead boldly, but to change systems and to build a future that is more equitable, more inclusive, and more sustainable for generations to come. Listening to these women, truly listening, is going to be powerful. It allows us to expand our perspectives, challenge our assumptions, and deepen our understanding of what leadership can and should look like in this work. And when we center our voices, we center the voices of women, especially women of color. We are not just honoring their contributions, we are strengthening the very foundation of progress. So today, I invite each of you to lean in. Come on, physically, just go on, lean in a little bit. Get a little lean in. Yeah, lean in. Be present. Be open. And be ready to not only hear, but to be moved, inspired, and called to action. So let's begin. We are going to begin with Dr. Corinne Taylor. Dr. Corinne Taylor is a transformational leader who I've known for a long time, a researcher and healthcare advocate with nearly 3 decades of experience advancing equity, mental health, and community-centered care. So let's hear from Dr. Corinne.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ebony. I truly appreciate it. It is truly my honor to be here tonight with all these amazing women on the panel. So, Ebony, do you just want me to kind of go into who I chose?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And what you do, anything that we didn't indicate, what you do,
Perfect.
And
Absolutely. Absolutely. I did not want to repeat, but I appreciate that. So again, I am Dr. Corinne Taylor, and like Dr. Ebony said, I am a nurse by trade. I have a master's degree in community health nursing, and I have a doctorate in organizational leadership. I have worked in the maternal health space for more than half of my career, and I've worked in public, private, nonprofit, governmental institutions, and I've always enjoy working in maternal health, but for me, I think my passion and purpose was really centering community voice, because working in corporate America, I learned a lot of the work that I engaged in. It was really the work that we just told the community what they wanted, and things wouldn't turn out right. So for me, I wanted to listen to community voice. So the Empowerment Foundation is my nonprofit that I founded, and our mission is to really advance equity through really amplifying community voice, really building community capacity, and then lastly, by improving health outcomes. So for me, I have grown in my journey as a registered nurse. I started out doing a small program, and then I ended up going to a county program, and then I went to a state program. So for me, my journey through nursing and caring for the community and doing all of this evidence-based work, kind of it was a journey to get there. But for me, the person that I would like to nominate, who has been by my side before I got my doctorate 10 years ago, all the things, is Dr. Karen Bankson. She is an amazing nurse leader. She'll tell you the stories, how I've cried on her shoulder. I'm not sure where I'm doing, where am I going, and things like that. And she's inspired me, and she asked the hard questions that I had to ask myself, that allowed me to understand kind of my purpose and my passion as it relates to research and community health, and how do I draw all those things together. So Dr. Karen Bankson in Cincinnati, she is very well known. She's had major positions in the city. She was the chief nursing officer at UC Health, and she was the CEO of Drake many years ago. She's also is a professor emeriti at the University of Cincinnati. So her career has spanned many positions. But I think for me, I honor her today because through all the journeys in my career, because I didn't wake up like this. This was a purpose and a passion, and I built it. So, and Karen was there in my ear, even present day now. I've always been a researcher, working on research now. I instantly hit Karen up. Karen's name is published everywhere. Karen gave me the advice that I needed. So and Karen always says, Corinne, you listen, and I do. Took her advice, IRB approved, research projects in full effect. So Karen has been my guiding light for several years, more than a decade, and I know she's going to continue to be there for me, and I just want to continue to make her proud, and for me to grow into the nurse that God has predestined me to be.
wow, thank you, Dr. Corinne. And as someone who has had the privilege and honor to speak with and work alongside Dr. Bankston, I completely understand. And as you said something very important. I didn't wake up like this, and none of us did, right? When I hear people say things like, no one helped me, I'm like, that, I don't know what you're talking about. We stand on the shoulders, right? We don't stand alone. We stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, who have done the work, which is what we're speaking about today. So thank you for giving Dr. Bankston her flowers today, well-deserved flowers. And she continues to do amazing work, as you are as well, Dr. Corinne. All right, our next.
Thank you. And I just want to say one more thing.
Yes.
I just want to say one more thing. And I tell Dr. Bankston all the time, my goal is to give back to others what she gave to me. What she gave to me, I want to give to others who are on their journey. So always it's 360.
That's right. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. Thank you, Dr. Corinne. Our next panelist that I'm going to introduce is the amazing Sonia Wells. Sonia Wells is a board certified family nurse practitioner and public health leader with over 20 years of experience advancing wellness, health equity, and community-centered care. So, Mrs. Wells.
Good evening, everyone. So happy for everyone to be here. As Dr. Ebony mentioned, I'm Sonia Wells, board certified nurse practitioner and the vice chair of this amazing organization, Black Women Cultivating Change. I'm also the CEO and principal consultant for Sonia Wells Public Health and Wellness Consulting. My journey in healthcare and wellness has always been rooted in purpose. As they say, started from the bottom, now I'm here. That's truly how it went for me. I was a medical assistant. I then, went on to be an LPN. Then I went on to be a 2-year RN. Then I went on to be a 4-year RN. Then I went on to be a master's prepared nurse practitioner. And so now I'm working on my doctoral degree in strategic leadership. So for me, it truly has been rooted in purpose. And so I'm just happy for the journey and here for along the ride, because I always say it's not about me. I was just given the assignment. So, as a Black woman in healthcare, I've seen the gaps firsthand. I've worked in the trenches. I've worked in the upper echelon. I've done it all. And so that experience, it didn't discourage me. It really pushed me and helped me clarify what I needed to do. As far as, wellness and advocacy, always making sure that people had access to health care, making sure that they understand what is going on with them. That's always been important to me, and actually taking ownership and control of their own health. And so that's kind of where I fell in and where I found my purpose. And so I've just been working in that space ever since. For me, it's not really just a career. It's about commitment to shifting outcomes and creating spaces for people to feel heard, be healthier, and just live good lives. So I walk into rooms every day that weren't designed for me, and it wasn't designed for people that look like me. So it makes me step up to the plate and serve in systems where representation needs to be. So when we talk about, Women's History Month and people that inspire me, it was really hard for me to narrow it down to just one. I believe from a system approach, we're looking at challenges and disruptions, and they all have been rebuilt by women and different things. And so it was a couple of people. And the first one that comes to mind for me is Mary Eliza Mahoney. And if you're a nurse, you've heard of her. She was one of the first Black licensed nurses in the United States of America. And she was here fighting for us at the time when discrimination was, which it still is, but she was unapologetically like, I'm here to do the work, and I'm going to do it. And so she elevated that career for us. Another one for me is Dr. Rebecca Lee Crumpler. She was actually formerly doing the work for slaves, like people that were ignored. She was giving them health care and things like that. And then Henrietta Lacks, she's a woman that if you in the healthcare, you heard of her. But we have all these people that has transformed modern medicine, and it wasn't by their own agreements. It was something that they weren't given the option to do. So the thing for me is, like, if we're going to be honest, we have to have those hard conversations and talk about the hard part of history too. And because of those women, they have shaped healthcare, and some of them it wasn't by choice, some of it was forced. I always talk about Anarcha Westcott. There's another one named Lucy. There's another one named Betsy, and they really shaped gynecological care because they were experimented on without consent, without anesthesia, and without the dignity that they deserved. So those people are the ones that stand out for me, because through their pain, we have gained great advancements in the healthcare system. And then lastly, I can't forget about Loretta Ford. She paved the way for nurse practitioners. She said, hey, I see a gap. I see where nurses can do more. And so with that, we came with more prevention, more community engagement, more access to care, from, system approaches to patient-centered focus. So those women, they didn't wait, for approval. They didn't wait to be invited. They didn't wait to be validated. They was like, we moving, so let's go. And so those are the people that pushed me in my career. And because of their work, we get to show up leading, we get to show up serving, and we get to show up advocating for people each and every day. And, not to say that health disparities still don't exist and access to care is still unequal and all those things. But the question is now for me is like, what are we going to do about it? What's our plan? And so for me, it's advocating for every patient that comes into my door or into my space. It's having those conversations about prevention and wellness with people. It's about walking in the rooms and showing that representation matters. And so because of their sacrifice, here we are. So as we wrap up Women's History Month, let's just continue to lead, advocate, and disrupt what no longer serves our communities.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sonia. Absolutely. And you gave us a wealth, right? I mean, from Mary Eliza Mahoney to Dr. Rebecca Lee Crumford to Henrietta Lacks to Loretta Ford. Thank you. Absolutely. Let's say their names, right? Let's say their names. We stand on their shoulders. And I was listening to you, and what came to me was we walk into the rooms as if we were sent, because we were. And we were sent often by those we were speaking about as well, right? We walk into those rooms, not just ourselves, but we walk in with them behind us, pushing us to move forward and to go. So thank you. Thank you, Sonia. Our next panelist I am going to introduce is Miss Deasia Thompson, who I've had the opportunity to work with because she's done some work for our agency, and I'm so grateful for that. And so she is an award-winning trauma therapist, speaker, and founder of Rise Counseling Group. She is dedicated to improving mental health outcomes for Black women and communities through culturally responsive care. So I will turn it over to you, Miss Deasia.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to be on the panel. I am truly honored as we round out a wonderfully busy Women's History Month, Sisterhood Month, all the things in the for the month of March. So I just wanted to talk briefly about thinking about our role in healthcare and even kind of my own journey. And I don't really think about it as a straight line. Many of us have had many ups and downs as we navigate this space in our personal lives, navigating healthcare ups and downs, and then also in our professional lives. So I always kind of think about that duality because we work in healthcare, but we also have to navigate it in our personal lives. And so I think about my own journey and think about having to have resilience, what identity means, and then also the responsibility that we hold and that our providers hold as well. And so for me, my journey did not start, in the classroom. I'm a professor now, but it didn't start in the classroom. I became a mother early as a teen. And so having to navigate healthcare, early on I had to learn how to advocate for myself. I also had to learn how to advocate for myself as a cancer survivor. So having to learn how to talk to nurses and doctors and tell them this doesn't feel great, or, this provider was not kind, or this provider was not helpful, and how that impacted, my own mental health, which is where my career focus is now. And so it really just made me kind of think about, as we are folks that care for others, but really thinking about what it feels like for folks to need care. And that's really what we're providing in these spaces. And so now, at this stage in my life as a wife and mother and business owner, I've had different opportunities to advocate, and for me, it kind of, I think it's come full circle as I think about the women who have shaped my professional and personal life. And so my journey in terms of social work started at The Ohio State University, but I've been in college counseling. I've also been in psychiatric units as well as residential treatment. And one of the things for me that I saw that was very impactful for me was how Black women and girls were navigating these interconnected systems, legal, mental health, and healthcare, right? And so for me, how I show up really, I felt like matter, and I felt like it mattered to the girls that I worked with. I think, it helped me to really kind of think about how do I want to show up and how do I want to provide care, wanting to see young ladies have someone that they can maybe look up to or feel like they can, navigate different journeys, whatever that may be. And later on, I founded Rise Counseling Group because I couldn't find a therapist of my own. And so and that kind of brings me around to that representation. And so really out of my own personal experiences and kind of getting into the mental health space within social work. So I want to talk about Mamie Phipps Clark, Dr. Mamie Phipps Clark. And so she was a pioneer as a Black psychologist. Okay. She, alongside her husband, they conducted what is known as the doll experiment. So a lot of folks in social work programs, maybe even nursing programs, have watched this experiment. And basically, it's when kids were asked to choose between Black and white dolls. And so a lot of them chose the white dolls because they felt like they were better, or they were prettier, or they were good, right? So that representation of goodness and purity and all that starts so young. And it showed us that the absence of representation can create harmful narratives. It affects how you see yourself. And it also, for me, highlighted just how early our kids, specifically our girls, learn self-hate. They learn that they're not desirable, or they learn, like, they internalize racism early on. And so I know when we think about like racism, a lot of folks don't correlate that with like medical, right? That means they have not read the history of medical racism in this country. But from a mental health perspective, which is where I work in, understanding how that deeply impacts your self-esteem, your own mental health outcomes, I think is very important. And so for her, I am very grateful because that research was impactful, and it really shapes how I even approach, like, I'm someone that represents this field, and she set the tone for that. Her along, and I don't want to disregard her husband, but this Women's History Month. So, her alongside her husband, they really set that tone. And so to me, what they did, even back in the day, maybe not even realizing the impact that they had, is that representation is impactful to our mental health. It is impactful to our self-esteem. It is impactful in how we develop relationships with other people, relationships with ourselves, and relationships with the world. And so I just want to say, one of the things about discussing these powerful women is, at the time, they didn't necessarily even know how powerful they were. And so we're standing on their shoulders, and we're navigating this new-ish terrain, right? And we're trying to do better and do more and really kind of build upon what they've already started. And so it also, to me, showed that we can work on our healing, right? There are going to be some things that we have to unlearn, that may have impacted our self-esteem. And that's where that mental health piece comes in for me. And I think that that's very important. And so these women that we're talking about today have really shaped healthcare in different ways. And I am just truly honored to be able to discuss the legacy that each of them have left. And I am really honored to be able to carry that on. So thank you.
Thank you, Deasia. Thank you so much. You are correct. Mamie Phipps Clark, her work, as a pioneer in American social psychologist, she and her husband's work also was extremely impactful to the decision of the board Brown versus
Yes, it was.
of education. And so, I mean, thank you for introducing her for some who may not understand or know the work that her and her husband did and its impact. But we've seen so many videos about the doll and which one is pretty. We've seen so much around that, but we don't often see who did. We don't see her, right?
Exactly.
So thank you so much for educating many of us who aren't aware about her being a pioneer in the work that she's done. Thank you for that. Our next panelist is the amazing Sandra Wright. Sandra Wright is a heart survivor, a wellness coach, and a community health advocate dedicated to empowering individuals and families to prioritize prevention, self-care, and what we talk about and what we need to keep talking about, which is healthier living. So I turn it over to you, Ms. Wright. We can't hear you. Make sure you unmute yourself, Ms. Wright. Give her a moment to unmute. There we go.
Okay, we good? Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am just so full from listening to all of these wonderful, brilliant minds. And indeed, it is an honor and a privilege to sit among you. I am just so excited about being a part of this organization and the great work that's being done here. In terms of my path, as far as career, there was a lot of stop and goes with that. And so a lot of times life doesn't happen exactly the way we plan or hope for it to, but somehow we always seem to end up just where we're supposed to be. And I can say that for truth for myself. I have always been intentional about the life I live. And for as long as I can remember, I've always been one who was very passionate and deliberate to do all that I can to invest in the quality of life of others. The very nature of my name, Sandra, means helper of mankind, defender of man. And you can believe I have taken that name literal. And so all of my life, I've been involved in community work, even from a teenager. And so where I thought I'd missed my calling or my opportunities, as I said, you find yourself right where you're supposed to be. And so it is indeed an honor to be here. As a heart transplant, I don't need to tell anyone that that is a situation that changes who you once were, and now you've become someone else. And for some, the whole mental aspect of that prevents them from continuing to thrive in their life. I am thankful that that is not the case for me. As I laid in the hospital bed and absolutely amazed all of the people around me, and I won't even get into all of that, but I promised and I said, this is a gift beyond anything. And I still get emotional about it. It is the most precious gift, you know, and it is a catch-22 because someone's life ended in order for mine to continue. And that is not something that I take lightly. And I just feel that it is my absolute honor and duty to pay it forward. And that's what I do. And I do it with such joy and such privilege. And so with that, there's been many challenges that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, even now sitting before you. But I don't focus on that because, as we know, the positive mind will get you through whatever you're dealing with. And so I learned to do that early in my life. I learned early on that life is 90%, not life is 10% of what happens to you, and is 90% of the attitude that you have as you go through your life. And so that really resonated deeply with me. And to get to the point of wrapping up, the person that has been the most recent inspiration for me was Dr. Patricia Bath. And she started as a nurse. She was marginalized. This woman was brilliant. And if you don't know her, I encourage you to look her up, Patricia Bath. Because not only did she do something that was sustainable, she did something that revolutionized the whole process of eye care. I recently had to have cataract surgery on both eyes, and it's so wonderful to see how beautiful you all look, because before it was so cloudy and dim, and now I have the eyesight of what I had in my 40s, and it's just wonderful. Dr. Patricia Bath invented the laser phyco probe. And this tool actually changed the whole process in how cataract surgery is done. It is done now to where it's painless, it's seamless, it's sutureless. And I just experienced it. I had no downtime. I felt no pain. It just was wonderful. And I came upon knowing her from doing the research on cataract surgery to see what was I getting into. And it was amazing, all the things that this woman has accomplished. And then to see that she was a Black woman from Harlem. And so it just makes me feel proud to know the contributions that we have made in this country, not only in this country, but in this world. And so I'm glad for us Black women who are cultivating real change. And I know that we are educating those who are coming up behind us. I know that we are letting our children know they are definitely not the tail. They are the heads. They do lead the world. And I know we have been shown in media and in everything else to look like we are the lowest of the low. But when the truth is told, and so I'm just going to leave it there, because I am truly a proud Black woman, and I love us, and I'm here for us. And I'm so happy and thankful for the work that all of you are doing. It's wonderful to be able to have Black professionals that we can turn to, especially when we are navigating this path of health and wellness. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Wright. Thank you for your vulnerability and your transparency. Thank you for that. Someone needed to hear it truly today. And I know that what comes from the heart touches the heart. So I felt it. I didn't just hear it. Thank you for that. And as you said, it is our duty to pay it forward. It is our duty to pay it forward. It's not enough for us to get, and I have a good friend who shared this with me. He was helping me with something, and I was thanking him. I said, thank you, because you didn't have to help me with that, to help someone else. It wasn't for me, it was for someone else. And he said, we become so others can become. And I have it like on my screen at work. I keep it there in front of me. We become so others can become. They became so that we can become. That's what we're speaking about today. And Dr. Patricia Era Bath is one of those individuals. So thank you. And for many of us who aren't aware, and I just learned a little bit about her actually during Black History Month. because I wasn't aware either, but I heard a little bit about it during that time. So thank you for sharing that, and oh, how meaningful that is to your own experience. So thank you. You also spoke a little bit about our attitude, and I would say I tell my children this all the time: attitude determines your altitude. Right? How we look at things, how we deal with things, it impacts how far we'll go. And so thank you for speaking to that as well. So we have introduced almost all of our panelists, but I get the opportunity to also introduce our fearless leader, Ashley Glass, who, you see the smiles on our faces. Do you see that? It's because, that's how we feel, right? When you hear her name, you be like, all smiles, all smiles. She is truly amazing. So Ashley Glass is a healthcare leader, health equity strategist, and founder of Black Women Cultivating Change, dedicated to advancing mental health awareness and improving outcomes in underserved communities. So I am going to turn it over to our leader, Ashley Glass.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ebony. And I have the honor and privilege of working with all of you beautiful ladies. You all are amazing. Just want to say to the public, these ladies help lift me up during our meetings. And, I get, text messages from them and small words of encouragement. I just want to say thank you to all of you, because on this road, it is hard dealing with not only family life, work life, the political stuff. Just having a good circle of women around you truly makes a difference. And so I want to encourage everyone watching, listening, to make sure you're surrounding yourself with positive women like I have myself. So definitely wanted to start out by saying that. And just want to share a little bit about my journey, my personal journey, as well as my professional journey, and then highlight my woman of history. So I grew up in Huber Heights. Some of you all may know where that is. Some of you may not. It's in Dayton. Dayton's boring, but I'm sorry, Deasia. But ended up in Cincinnati, went to UC, and kind of never left this area. When I tell you I love Cincinnati, I don't know what it is about this place, but when I came here for college, I've never left. And truly grew a very huge just connection to the people here, and truly want to see the people here strive and live happier and healthier, and just have good mental health and wellness. I think mental health for me is so important to me. If your mental health is off, literally everything else is going to be off too. And so that is why I'm such a huge advocate for mental health. As far as my professional journey, I started out in public health. So I graduated from the University of Cincinnati in public health. Had a little bit of a rocky story. Wanted to be a nurse since I was younger, but kind of went the path of public health first, and ultimately ended up in nursing too as well. And I'm able to use both public health and nursing in my professional career. So just want to say, in words of encouragement for people who are watching tonight, do not give up. Like I said, that nursing is something I wanted to do from young, and there were barriers, obstacles. I had my first child when I was in my undergrad. So going through that, as well as, some unhealthy situations in college, as well as in adulthood, and just wanted to make sure I encourage people tonight to not let those barriers to stop you from your goal. We all, and I think all the women on this panel can agree with me, have been through a lot of barriers and challenges. None of us are perfect. I know sometimes you see these people talking on panels and different things like that, and you might think, oh my gosh, it looks like they have it so easy. And I bet you every one of you all on the panel can agree with me. It took a lot, blood, sweat, and tears to get to where we are today. So I just want to encourage people tonight to truly never give up on your goals and dreams. And like I said, make sure you surround yourself with the right people, because that really is a make or break. I have amazing women and men around me, and just don't know where I would be if I didn't have these people and support systems around me. So just want to thank you all, as well as my family. Want to shout out my grandmother, Dorothy Glass. She lives in Philadelphia, but she has been just a strong voice my whole life, and always been encouraging and different things like that whenever I'm going through tough situations, as well as my mother, who has also been encouraging and gave me a very positive image to look up to when I was growing up. So just want to thank both of them, as well as cousin Charmaine. Want to shout out her. She has shattered some glass ceilings in our family and just has been someone to truly look up to as far as in my professional career. So I want to highlight my woman of history now. And my woman of history is Eddie Bernice Johnson. So I'm not sure if you all have heard of her, but when I was doing my Google search, I'm like, who would fit for not only the work that we do, but also someone I could kind of admire, like that is doing kind of similar work to what I'm doing and what we're trying to do as an organization. So Eddie Bernice Johnson, she was a trailblazer in nursing and public service. She was the first registered nurse elected to the U.S. Congress, so bring frontline healthcare experience directly into national policymaking. She was a pioneer in psychiatric nursing who broke racial and gender barriers in healthcare leadership. And she served as the first Black female chief psychiatric nurse at Dallas VA Hospital, leading mental health care for veterans. So I just wanted to lift her name up because she definitely opened up a lot of doors, especially in the nursing profession, as well as kind of taking that healthcare background and advocating in the political space too as well, and was definitely a huge advocate for mental health. So just wanted to highlight her. And that kind of wraps up my segment, and I will pass it back over to Dr. Ebony. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for not giving up. Because if you gave up, where would we be, right? We get to do this work because you haven't given up. And we know, many of us know, it has not been easy. It has been tough, but you haven't given up. And for that, we are grateful, because the work that Black Women Cultivating Change does is so impactful to our community. So thank you for not giving up. Thank you for introducing us to Eddie Bernice Johnson. And thank you for your transparency around your journey and some of the things that you dealt with, because I think so often when people watch things, panelists speak, they forget, as Dr. Corinne said, I wasn't always here. There was a journey, and there's still a journey. I can have doctor in front of my name and all of those letters behind my name and all of the things, but I am still a human being, and I am still for us, we are Black women, and we are dealing with the things that comes with all of that. So thank you for not giving up, and thank you for encouraging us and others not to give up. So I would like to ask the panelists a question before we head out. And that question is, what words of advice would you give to those who are watching, especially on exactly what Ashley was just speaking about, which is, how do you keep going? How do you keep going? So I'm going to go by my screen because that's the easiest way. And I can do it that way because I can see. So I'll start with you, Deasia. Any response to that? Words of advice, and how do you keep going? Now we'll call on you.
So I was sorry. I would say that excuse me, I'm sorry. What you are doing it does matter, even though it may not always feel like. I'm sorry. Even though it may not always feel like you're making a difference or making headway, there are people watching you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Take your moment.
There are people watching you, and you have the ability to change the trajectory of somebody's life. So I try to remember that when I feel like I want to give up, I don't want the practice, I'll be like, throw the whole practice away. It's too much today. Because it gets like that sometimes. I've even thought about that with the social work field and being in healthcare. I'm like, you know what I want to go do? I want to just be a travel agent and like, become a, social media personality or something. I don't know. But, I know there are times where it doesn't feel easy, but somebody is watching you. You are making an impact. And I think you have to remember your why. And so for me, my why was losing a friend to suicide and remembering that I never wanted another Black woman to feel like that. And so that's what keeps me going. So I had, my why is very personal. And so I say you have to find your why, because you're going to impact somebody's life, even if it's just in the smallest little way, just a decision or a smile or helping them or whatever it is. You can make a difference. So that's why I keep going.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Deasia. Ayo, anything you would like to give and talk about around what words of advice that you have, or how do you keep going?
I think that because my focus now is to help children dealing with grief, I remind myself how I felt when I couldn't talk to anyone about it, the confusion, the distress that I had to deal with for many years. Because when I realized the finality of death, I was like, oh, I can't bring my mom back. If I win $1 million, I can't even bring her back. Then I have this distress. Something tells me, go to bed. When you wake up, everything will be okay. Then I go to bed and I wake up and the reality is still there. And then now I think about children going through the same thing too. The pain. One moment you think you have a pain in your chest, or you don't know what, you might not even understand that that's grief. I'm thinking about children who have lost a parent or both, or a sibling, and I want to do something about it. Sometimes I look at the news and I'm like, oh, it's over. The world is gone crazy. We can't do it all. Then I say, okay, just do your part. I keep encouraging myself, do your part. You can help the children. Just remember that people who are hurt will end up hurting people. So if you can do something, if you can help them while they're young, then the society will be better. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Just do your part. Ooh, absolutely. Dr. Corinne.
Thank you so much for that. And I think some advice that I would give to those listening for how to keep going, right, in the face of adversity. And I think for me, my entire life, my entire 50 plus, almost 2 years, have been adversity. And I think for me, always be coming to the table with an open mind, and understanding failure isn't fatal, and understanding that sometimes the things that you see in front of you that feels like it's not going to work or it's not going to happen, understanding that it still can happen. Um, and I would also say learn to pivot sometimes, because on my journey, and you guys have been a witness to all the things that I've done, sometimes I thought, ooh, this got to be it. And God said no. He said no. And I had to be like, well, no, I want to. So I think, having an open mind, being able to pivot, and understanding that what's coming in front of you is going to blow your mind. Is because I tell everyone, for me, I never thought I would sit in this chair. I came to school to be a nurse and to do bedside care. This was never on my bingo card. But I am grateful to God that He has ordered my steps. So for you, keeping an open mind, understanding what's in front of you, is not what it is. Failure is not fatal. Failure is a way to learn. Always be a lifelong learner and say, what can I learn from that? What can I do differently? I'm not doing business with that person. Maybe I need to be a little more persistent. Maybe I need to ask the questions. Always looking inward on how you can be better and do better, because everyone can grow and be better and do different.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Corinne. Failure is not fatal. No, it is not. Absolutely not. Sandra. You gotta unmute yourself, Ms. Sandra.
I'm a little slow with this sometimes. I would like to propose a challenge, which is change the way you look at things. You will change the way you see. And when you change the way you see, you'll change the way you be. And so basically, that is just changing the perspective of how you look at things and how you think about it. Just like Dr. Corinne said about failure, I started looking at that a different way because I used to look at it as it being failure. And with that comes that negative energy that drains you and brings you down. And so when I changed my perspective on how I look at things that don't go according to plan, I came to the realization that there are no failures. Because no matter what you go through and what you experience, you have learned something. There are some takeaways, and that situation made you different. And if you can look at it with a positive mind, it can change you for the good. So change the way you look at things, you will change the way you see. And when you change the way you see, you will definitely change the way you be.
This is what I wanted to do when she was saying that. That's what I wanted to do. I was like, yes, that's what I wanted to do. Thank you, Sandra. Absolutely change the way you look at things, and that there is no failure. Like, wow, like just going off of what Dr. Corinne just stated, right, is how we look at those things. So thank you. Sonia.
I think for me, you have to know your why. Because for me, it was never really about me. Once I figured out my passion and my purpose, it had nothing to do with me. As a servant leader, I was just given the assignment to do the work. And so that's what I'm here to do. And so that's what I encourage people to do, to know why you were put here, what are you supposed to be doing, and really hone in on that and ride that wave all the way out. Because one day there'll be a whole generation of people that'll be looking back at us and saying, what did they do? And so we want to be able to say, not only the people, first it'll be for me, it'll be God to say, what did you do? Next, it'll be the people, and then it'll be me. And so I want to be able to say, I showed up and showed out boldly, and we made changes. And so that's only going to happen once you dig your heels in and figure out your why.
I don't even know. I just want as a servant leader, right? It's not about me. It's about the assignment, right? What we have been assigned to do on this earth with the limited time that we have. It feels sometimes like we have a lot of time, but it ain't a lot of time. And it wasn't for the women we spoke about either. And look at all that they accomplished in that time frame. Ashley.
All right, I have one, and then I have another one that I use all the time, the first one is trust the process. So as we all mentioned, sometimes you have to pivot, like Dr. Corinne said. So those no's or those doors that were shut, all that, as Miss Sandra was saying, you have to reframe your thinking like, okay, this was God's way of redirecting me to something else. I wasn't supposed to be there, or I served my purpose in that moment, that time, but now it's time for me to move on to something else. So I think that is huge. And then my second quote, which is, life is not surface level. So as you're interacting with the community, interacting with your coworkers, your family, your friends, just remember, life is not surface level. What you're seeing on the surface, you have no idea what's going on behind closed doors or in that person's mind and different things like that. So just as you're interacting with people, make sure that you're kind and showing grace. And so that's where I'll leave us tonight.
Yes, trust the process. Trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a lot easier said than done.
Yeah.
But if you trust and you remember your why, and you understand that this is an assignment, and that even if you fail, it's not fatal, and that you have to change the way you look at things, and that way you will change the way you see them. All of these things, right? Remember how you felt. That was one of the things I heard from Io is remember how you felt. I say this all the time for leaders is remember what you needed.
Yeah.
Remember what you needed. We forget. We get to this place and we're like, oh, I'm here. You forget you weren't always here, as Dr. Corinne said. What did you need? What did you feel when you experienced that? And how can you help someone through it? So as we close this conversation, I just want to take a moment to reflect, just to think about all that was said today and the space that was provided today for such a powerful conversation. When we as women come together, when we share our stories, our challenges, our victories, we create something bigger than ourselves. We create connection, we create understanding, and most importantly, we create change. So thank you. Thank you all. Thank all of you, because the most important commodity we have is time. And you gave your time today. You gave your story. And for that, we are grateful. So thank you from Black Women Cultivating Change for spending time with us today. And we hope that you walked away with, I know I did. I walked away with nuggets, lots of them. And I walked away with some women to research that I would like to learn more about. So thank you all and good night.